Alright, hello YouTube. This is the first video for my backup battery system. I made this purchase because having the essentials and necessities like phone, chargers, and lights are really important to us in the event that we lose power. So yeah, the end goal is to have a system that will keep us all comfortable in the event of a power loss. It's a pretty common thing to have happen to us. Not so much around here lately, but it has happened before. So inspiration for this video comes from Jack Spirko and Stephen Harris. Those conversations and the amount of things that you can do with a system like this really inspired me to go make these purchases and go learn about this, and the best way to learn is by doing. So you all get to follow along with me as I maybe make mistakes, do something wrong, but that's part of the fun. So here's my battery. It is a Group 31 DCM dual cycle marine battery. It was the biggest one I could find, but it was not easy to find. The Group 24, 27s I could find at Walmart or Sam's Club, but these bigger batteries were more difficult to find. I actually picked this one up from an auto parts store. So it's a marine deep cycle battery. Marine because I assume it's made for like a large boat. Deep cycle meaning that it can go very low, past like 50% charge level, and do that multiple times. So in addition to the battery, we have our charger. This is I guess it's a 15 amp charger, and then a 3 amp basically trickle charge, microprocessor controlled. So we'll get this hooked up to the battery terminals here, and you'll get to see me do that. And we'll see if this charger is actually going to work. It may be too small. I did not see a 30 amp charger on the shelf. And then we also have this little analyzer here that will hook up to the battery while it's charging to see if it's actually working. So we'll get this all unboxed and see how it goes. Alright, here we go. Charger is plugged into the wall down here, and the clamps are on the battery. Actually, now we're going to activate this outlet here. Alright, so just turn that on. The display is reading 12 volts. And what did our directions say to do? Looks like the battery type. Let's do that. Standard. That's what we wanted, I think. Yep. And the charging rate. So we want automotive marine right there. Alright, there it turned on. So it is now charging this battery. And now I'm going to go ahead and hook up my little monitor here, see if it's actually working. Yep, battery is low. The charger indicates that it is 51% charged. So there you have it. So we'll let this sit here for a while until we get in the green, as it were. And we should go into, I believe, power sport mode, which is the maintain. Alright guys, catch up with you later. Alright, that is the sound of the fan turning on. So that's really the loudest it gets. But otherwise, I don't feel, there's this blanket here underneath it. That's not getting hot. The batteries aren't getting hot. Battery is not getting hot. You can see this tester here that I'm questioning the usefulness of. But when I test it, all the lights come on. So I don't know what that means. But it is giving me an indication or should give me an indication of what the voltage in the battery is. But if I go over to the charger, yeah, just turned off. And just hit a button, it'll tell me the percentage that it's charged. So, not sure if this battery tester was necessary. This day has been a little reminiscent of watching paint dry. We're about 4 hours in, and we're at 65%. So likely we won't really be testing this until tomorrow. Anyway, but I thought at this point it might be good to talk about the actual battery itself and why I picked the one that I did. So as I said before, this is a Group 31 Deep Cycle Marine. You'll see it down here, Marine Deep Cycle. And it doesn't say group anywhere on this battery, so you might be thinking, well, how did I know that? And that's because when you look at the battery shelf at either Sam's Club or Walmart or Pet Boys, AutoZone, wherever you happen to be getting your battery, you'll see the group numbers listed on the shelf. You'll see Group 24, which Group 24 would be a small car battery, kind of like this car out here. Group 27, Group 29, and Group 31, which might be the biggest one. I'm not 100% certain about that. Other meaningful numbers here that I'm looking at are 185 RC. RC stands for reserve capacity. This is actually an indication of how much power the battery can actually store. RC, reserve capacity, basically assumes that this is going to be on a boat and you're going to be running the trolling motor on the boat, and that you can run it for 185 minutes. I think that's what that means, but you can look up on Google how to convert this to amp hours if that's something you're interested in. But anyway, so once the battery is charged up, we're going to disconnect the leads here. I didn't mention it before, but notice this one says negative, it's on the negative terminal, and this one is positive, it's on the positive terminal. That's pretty important to remember to do that. But when we disconnect those, we're going to put this little doohickey, which I just picked up. We're going to hook this up to the terminals here, and this is a female power adapter, 12 volt power adapter that I got at the AutoZone for under $10. So this is going to get plugged into here. This is an inverter I got some time ago. It's a little 300 watt inverter. Input is 12 volts DC, which this is a 12 volt battery. Come out here, it will go through the adapter. Inverter will plug into the adapter, and then we'll be able to turn the inverter on, and it will take the 12 volt direct current input and convert it to 120 volt output alternating current, which will come out of these here, which will hook a power strip up to. I think what's going to happen is it's not going to provide power unless this fan is on, which is what happens when I hit this button. So, alright, it is morning and our battery is 100% charged. Woohoo! So now we're going to start hooking stuff up to it and see how much we can power. I'm also not sure what the best order to do this is, but I think the best thing to do would be to turn the charger off first before disconnecting these terminals here. So I'm going to do that by unplugging from the wall. Charger says it's still on. Oh, there, it's turning off. Okay. Disconnect these. We'll pause the video here for me to carry this over to the table because it's really, really heavy. Okay, we've moved our battery over to the kitchen, and we have an iPad, an old iPhone 4 here, since I'm using my iPhone 6 to actually make this video, a battery charger, and we have some Christmas lights also hooked up via power strip here. We have our inverter, which is 300 watts, so this is the most wattage that it is going to be able to take from the battery, and we'll go through some of those calculations later, or at least what I think the calculations are. So we're only going to be able to pull 300 watts, so the number of things we can actually power need to require less than 300 watts. Each of these little iPhone, iPad chargers are 10 watts. This is, I believe, 6.5 for the battery charger, and the lights are 4.8. So we're not even close. So I think I'm going to be able to plug this all in, and everything's going to charge. But we're going to see. First thing we're going to do is test the battery. So we are fully charged. And I figured out that I was actually looking at this the wrong way. This little device is designed to check your car battery, which is why there's an alternator test, so you test your battery with the engine on, and the battery test is the engine off. So when I had the charger hooked up to this, it was basically simulating an alternator charging a battery. That's why these other lights were all lighting up. So we learned something new. So this is telling me that the engine, as it were, it was off, and the battery is fully charged. We are getting a very tiny, basically we're almost up to 13 volts, so that low output alternator test is starting to show up. Okay, so here's our connection to the battery. It is this adapter that I showed you yesterday. So we're going to hook the negative end up. Well, we'll hook the negative end up first. That's the ground wire. And then here's our positive end. Alright, so nothing is happening yet. We're going to try to turn on the power strip. Okay, yep, nothing is happening. And why is that? It's because the inverter is not on yet. Interestingly enough, the inverter being on is what converts the DC input to AC here. It does have a couple little USB plugs here that if I were to plug the iPhone or the iPad into those, it would start charging. So we'll demonstrate that real quick. Because it's still DC voltage coming out of there. And it is not charging, as you can see. I'm going to take that out. Right. And hook it back up over here. Alright, now I'm going to turn this on. Hopefully nothing blows up. Battery charger is charging. iPhone 4 is charging. The iPad is charging. And the Christmas lights are on. Isn't that nice? There's 4 AAA batteries in here that were probably mostly fully charged already, so I don't really know how good of a test this is. But the theory was that all this would just turn on, and it does. Again, we're going for low wattage here, which is why we only have a 300 watt inverter. If we wanted to start something like our refrigerator or a microwave, this really isn't a good way to do that. For one, we're going to need a much bigger inverter, as the microwaves, refrigerators are hundreds of watts. So we need more, probably like an 800 watt, 1000 watt inverter to do that. And those devices also have surges, which means when they start, they go to a very high wattage and then come back down. And also, it would drain our battery really fast. So we probably wouldn't do something like that unless we had the inverter maybe hooked up to the car. And even then, I'm not sure how long it would take for the car battery to die, because the alternator wouldn't supply enough amps to the car battery. So, there you have it. Any questions or comments or things that I could do differently, I would appreciate that feedback in the comments section. But I'm pretty happy with this. This is exactly what I was going for. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll hopefully get more videos for home readiness like this in the future. Thanks.